Outlawz, formerly known as Dramacydal and Outlaw Immortalz, is an American hip-hop group founded by Tupac Shakur in late 1995 after Shakur's release from prison. Collectively, they are best known for the numerous songs and albums they did with Tupac Shakur. History: in the earlier years of the Outlawz, they were known as Dramacydal. Dramacydal first appeared on the B-side of Tupac Shakur's 1993 single Holla If Ya Hear Me, the track Flex. Dramacydal was composed of K-Dog, who later became Castro, Young Hollywood, who later became Yaki Gaddafi, Mutar or Mew, who later became Napoleon, Big Malik, who later became Idi Amin. They also appeared on Tupac's Me Against the World and All Eyes on Me albums. They were also known as Thoroughheads, and Young Thugz. Outlawz: when Tupac signed to Death Row upon his release from prison, he recruited his stepbrother Moprim Shakur and Big Sight from Thug Life. Hussein Fatal, Napoleon, Idi Amin, Castro, Yaki Gaddafi, and Storm were also added, and together they formed the original lineup of the Outlaw Immortalz that debuted on Tupac's multi-platinum smash All Eyes on Me. They later dropped the title of Immortalz after the untimely deaths of Tupac and Yaki Gaddafi. Subsequently, they moved on as the Outlawz without the members of Thug Life. When Tupac Shakur recorded Hit 'Em Up, a diss song towards his former friend and rival, the Notorious B.I.G., he recruited 3 members from the former group whom he had worked with previously, and was eager to work with them again. Together, with the New Jersey rappers and other associates, they formed the original lineup of the Outlawz. Young Noble was later added and appeared on Tupac's second Death Row release, The Don Illuminati, The 7-Day Theory. It was on Tupac's McCavely album that Outlawz first came to the greater rap community's notice, appearing on a few songs. The idea behind the group was for each member to have a rap name coinciding with the names of various leaders who resisted control by the New World Order, past and present. Outlawz chose in later years to make a backronym out of the letters of their group name, operating under Thug laws as Warrants, although it does not stand for the group's name and is used infrequently. Original members: altogether, there were 10 original members of the Outlawz, including Tupac. McCavely was the leader of the group, and gave himself the name of McCavely after the Italian political philosopher Niccolo Squared Machiavelli, whose writings inspired Shakur in prison. Yaki Gaddafi, also known as Young Hollywood, Killer Gaddafi and the Prince, was given the name Yaki Gaddafi after Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. He was also Shakur's god-brother and an original member of Dramacydal. Castro, also known as K-Dog, was given the alias Castro after Cuban leader Fidel Castro. He is also a blood cousin of Shakur and an original member of Dramacydal. Idi Amin, also known as Big Malcolm, was given the alias Edi after Ugandan President Idi Amin and was also an original member of Dramacydal. Hussein Fatal, introduced to Yildirim by childhood friend Yaki Gaddafi, was given the alias after former leader of Iraq Saddam Hussein. Hussein left the group after the killings of Pac and Yak. He felt that the remaining group members were going against Tupac's wishes by signing contracts with Death Row. He recently rejoined the Outlawz, which is now composed of him, Young Noble and Idi. Napoleon, childhood friend of Gaddafi, was given the name Napoleon after French military leader Napoleon Bonaparte and was also an original member of Dramacydal. Napoleon left the group to be a Muslim motivational speaker. Mussolini, also known as Big Sight, who was in Tupac's previous group Thug Life, joined the Outlawz under the alias Mussolini after Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. Khamenei, Tupac's stepbrother, who was in Tupac's previous group Thug Life, joined the Outlawz under the alias Khamenei after the Iranian political figure Ayatollah Khomeini. Storm, the only female member of the group, met Tupac during the shooting of a film. After he found out how well she could rap, he immediately signed her on the spot and added her to the group, which later became known as the Outlaw Immortalz. Storm was to be a solo artist for Tupac's record label. She was introduced on the multi-platinum selling album All Eyes on Me. Young Noble, the last official Outlaw member by Tupac himself. He was introduced to Tupac by Gaddafi and Hussein Fatal in Los Angeles, a few months before his death. He appeared in many of Tupac's last recordings, and featured heavily on Tupac's last album and the now legendary The Don Illuminati, The 7-Day Theory. He was always known as Young Noble and was never given an alias from Tupac. Other members, Stormy Coleman, joined the group in 2005. T. Dollar, joined the group in 2008. Later years, shortly after joining the group, Moprim and Big Syke severed all ties with Death Row and left the Outlaws for financial and personal reasons. 2 months after the death of Shakur, Gaddafi was killed in a housing project in New Jersey. After 2 years, Napoleon convinced his cousin to turn himself in for shooting Gaddafi. Though Tupac had told them specifically to never sign to Death Row Records, after his death, the leftover members of the Outlaws decided to do just that. As a result, Fatal left the group, claiming they weren't being loyal to Tupac. Napoleon left the group due to his conversion to Islam and is now traveling all around the globe to spread the teachings of Islam. While managing and working on her solo project, Tupac signed Storm to Death Row Records. She left the group shortly after the death of Tupac. New Child and Musammal were never official members but have worked closely with the Outlaws and remain good friends. The Outlaws are also known for their long-time relationship with Brooklyn's Boot Camp clique, a relationship that began as a result of Tupac's friendship with Boot Camp's Smith N. Wesson and Boot Camp clique, while working on the yet-unreleased One Nation album. Despite stylistic differences and divergent fan bases, the two crews maintained connections on the basis of personal relationships. Members of the Outlaws were featured on Boot Camp releases like Helter Skelter's Magnum Force, and Rock's Veterans Day. In 1999, the Outlaws released their first album as a group with original unreleased recordings of Tupac, entitled Still I Rise, granting them even more recognition. The album was released on Death Row Records. Member Hussein Fatal did not appear on any of the album as he was edited out of the original recordings due to issues with the record labels. Storm was also edited out of some of the original recordings for unknown reasons. Original member Big Syke also appeared on the album. It wasn't until late 2000, though, that they finally got the go-ahead to release their debut album, Ride With Us or Collide With Us. Unfortunately, the album didn't prove to be much of a success, and neither did the group's follow-up album a year later, Novacan, also released on the group's Outlaw Records label. In 2008 they signed a short deal with Young Buck's Car HVILLE Records. In 2009, Castro had confirmed he had left the Outlaws to pursue a solo career. He reunited with the group on Outlaw Culture Radio in October 2010. Later the members went to release solo albums and collaborations with other artists. In 2011, there were 3 active Outlaw members, Edi, Young Noble, Hussein Fatal. The group's final CD is called Perfect Timing. Current years, as of 2009, the Outlaws reunited with former member Hussein Fatal, who immediately left the group following the deaths of Tupac and Yaki Gaddafi. The group has teamed up with allhiphop.com to release a new Outlaws song every week on the site in a series entitled Return of the Real in anticipation for their upcoming studio album Perfect Timing. The Outlaws put out 2 new mixtapes before the official album, Illuminati 2K10 and Illuminati 2K11, available online for free download. The Outlaws' last studio album Perfect Timing was released on September 13, 2011 on One Nation Entertainment. The album features guest appearances from many big-name rappers including Bun B, Tech N9ne, Scarface, Crazy Bone, Young Buck, Lloyd, among others, and production from Focus, Cosmo, Maxwell Smart, The Network and Sci-Fi. In 2011, some of the remaining members of the Outlaws made peace with longtime rival enemy Lil Cease of Junior Mafia. They both recorded a track called Bury the Hatchet, on a DJ K. Slay album. Discography. References. External links, official website, Outlaws on MySpace, Outlaws on Facebook, Outlaws on Twitter, Outlaws' channel on YouTube, Outlaws discography at Discogs.